In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emanuel Rose.
Well, welcome to the show today. We're going to welcome Jordan Miller, who is created a visionary product based on AI and blockchain, and is going to provide us with some high-level philosophical as well as very tactical concepts about leveraging AI in our lives in the world, and hopefully a little bit in marketing. So welcome, Jordan, to the show.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. Really excited to talk to you about what you're doing at SatoriNet and what led you to develop such a big project.
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about this project for a while. Yeah. Satori it's a distributed system. For anybody who doesn't know, it's a network of AIs that are all talking about the future, and they're just trying to predict the future. That's what they're optimizing on. So that's basically the idea.
Yeah, that's amazing. So then, what are some of the warehouses of data that you're pulling from? I mean, how do we look at the past to develop the concept for the future, and where is that warehoused?
It's warehoused on the network, so the distributed network. So it's just kind of anybody who's running a node has part of that data. But we're also grabbing the data from anywhere that wants to offer it. It's public data, any public data. We really care about the FRED data, the economic data. We care about environmental data. It's basically whatever the network wants to put up is what will be predicted.
So, like, if I'm a duck hunter and I want to find out about what the coming season in 2024-25 is going to be, is that a question that I could ask about a flyway and hunting out of Park City, Utah, for instance?
Eventually, you couldn't ask such a high-level question right now.
Yeah,
we're still building the basic models that are kind of getting a view of the entire world. But once they're up and we've scaled a little bit, you will be able to ask high-level questions to the AI that has kind of aggregated all this information together, and it can then point you in the right direction. Say, well, this is how the weather's looking, and this is the other thing that might affect that, and this is what it looks like it's going to be. And so here's my answer. And so we're trying to make that high level goal eventually.
that's amazing. And so then I guess we'd be able to do the same thing, like, for instance, for hurricane season, right, in Florida, right?
That's right.
And then be able to move goods and services to an area to be ready to support and help out after an event.
Right. And essentially the prediction of the future, if you can do it somewhat accurately, it's valuable in every domain. So there's a lot of things people bring to me, and I always say, I haven't even thought of that because it's not my domain, but
Right.
I know that it's valuable everywhere.
Yeah. What are some of those things that people are asking you to predict right now?
Right now, it's started with the easiest data and the most economic data that people want. So they've uploaded a bunch of crypto prices. We have crypto streams. People want to predict that so they can trade.
Right.
And that'll always be there, right? We'll always do that. And other people will care about sports betting, and other people will care. But a lot of people will care about things that aren't so economical or not immediately to them. So they might upload data about sea temperature changes. And the cool thing about the system is the people can vote on what they care about most.
Hmm.
And that will be where most of the processing, predicting power will go. So it's basically, it'll be a reflection of what matters to us.
Well, that's interesting. And so maybe there'll be a prediction for who's going to win the 100-meter dash in the Olympics. Or
Sure, yeah. I would kind of like to see, and so the Satori Association is going to do what it can to kind of push it in this direction, but I would like to see it form a broad base of understanding our economy and our environment and basically the most broad things that affect everything else,
right.
and have a lot of power go towards that at the beginning and make this kind of world model that can predict the broad movements, CPI numbers, jobs numbers, stuff like that. A lot of government statistics and economic data. And then on top of that, I'd like to see other things be built, because that will serve as a good foundation for a lot of other predictions.
Right. And then is there going to be a mechanism for somebody to, for instance, to say, I'm going to upload this marketing campaign as a concept, and then to get some kind of a feedback from SatoriNet on efficacy potential, for instance?
Sure. Eventually, not anytime soon, but yeah, it'll have to evolve into that.
And so you're leveraging the individual computing power connected to government statistics, and what other kind of tracks are you laying down as part of the network?
Well, I would say those are the two. So getting the data, anybody who's running a node can publish any data that they want. So,
Yep.
and then of course the AI engine is constantly evolving and learning how to make better predictions and better correlations between data streams.
Right.
The other kind of thing that matters, I think, is I kind of mentioned the vote. So as people are running the Satori, they earn a token, and that token serves as a control over the network of what the network will look at. And I think those are kind of the three main pillars of the technology, the three main components, I'd say.
Oh, so yeah, that's interesting. So you're basically rewarding participation, and then from that reward, then you're helping create an opportunity for somebody to direct the
That's
next
right.
phase. Okay,
That's right. Yeah.
that's cool. And then is there the feedback mechanism for the prediction that Satori makes, and then to see how accurate it was, and then to change predictive models based
Yeah.
on those outcomes?
Actually, that's what it's doing all the time. So, it might be, let's say I'm running a little node here, and I'm predicting something that has kind of a daily cadence. Maybe it's like the gold price daily or something.
Okay.
Well, it's going to produce a prediction every time it sees a new piece of data. I don't know, 7 a.m., sees a new piece of data, produces a prediction, broadcasts that out to anybody else who wants to hear it, and that's what it's doing. The entire time that it's just waiting for a new piece of data to come in, it's churning on
So it's learning from itself, and then it's adding to that learning as the new data comes in.
That's right.
And then are you the architect of the machine learning, or what? How's that whole process work?
I started the whole idea, so I kind of had to do everything in the beginning. But now we have a few really much better than me AI professionals that are kind of
Yeah.
taking over the AI engine. I built the most prototypical version I could get. Uh, my background is in business intelligence and software development. So I kind of knew a little bit about models, but I wasn't really, really great. and these
Yeah.
guys are like PhD level. So we have some people that are over that now and kind of focused on that. And I've switched to do more of the other stuff, the other like infrastructure for everything else.
I gotcha. And so, like, is there a way for me right now, without being part of the network, to ask questions and to get output from it?
There
Or
technically is. It's not what I'd like to see, and so this will continue to evolve.
yeah,
But you can go to the website right now, and on the homepage, you can type something in.
yeah,
And what it will do is it will search all the streams that are being predicted, literally like their names. And if what you type in, it's kind of like a search engine of these streams, it will say, well, let's say you type in the USD or something. It will say, we have this list of streams that are being predicted. There are USD prices and various things. And whichever one you click on, it will then show you the literal raw predictions.
uh-huh.
So eventually that'll evolve into just a chat bot. You'll just go on and ask a high level question. But right now you can kind of just see the raw details.
And so the answers are dependent upon the nodes that have been created up to this point. So
That's right.
if I'm asking about the number of Springer Spaniels that are going to be born in the state of Minnesota,
Yeah,
unless there's a node already built out for that, you're not crawling the entire internet at this point, right?
that's right. That's
Okay.
right.
So so then I guess how are you adding nodes based on questions that you can't answer yet?
Oh, good question. I guess we haven't evolved to that level of sophistication yet.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That's a metric we should keep. We should record who's, like what people are asking for, and
Right.
then yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then what are you seeing as the monetization and the ways this will be sustaining for the long run?
Because it has the token and you can mine it, and the token might gain um, a price in fiat, that might be able to sustain our development efforts all by itself. There's a
Right.
development fee that all of the tokens that get minted, a small percentage of those go to the developers so that we can just continue.
Right.
So I'm hoping that'll handle it, at least for phase one, while we try to scale this.
Yeah.
I do see other kind of ancillary things you can build on top of this platform that could monetize it. But the actual thing that we're working on right now is just the Satori. It's a nonprofit, and so we're just going to probably use that fee to build it out, and that's kind of our monetization plan at this point.
Interesting. And then is there a list of data sources that you're looking for to move on in this next phase?
I don't think we've even incorporated the Fred data yet. So I think that's the next thing that we'll do. We'll just probably go through a bunch of government statistics and add those kind of data streams.
Yeah, there's a lot, right? Like around all the economics, and then also around weather and even stream flows and water temps of things like that. So then what oh yeah, what's I would say this, what questions could you answer easily right now with Satori?
Well, since most of the data streams are predicting crypto prices, probably those questions.
All right, but I know you have at least a 3-phase roadmap.
That's right.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. So the first phase is what we're calling our public good, and this is just make public predictions of the entire world, what matters most to everybody. And then the phase 2 is kind of where you can add more layers of monetization, where you could make something like a private offering, where you say, if you're a business and you're happy that we're predicting the CPI for you for free, but you would really like to know about your sales numbers next month,
Right.
if you have data streams, you can connect them up to the network, and that basically de-silos that data. It connects it in with all the other things that it could be correlated with,
Yep.
and then you can get predictions about the future of those numbers.
Interesting. And then I guess there'd be some kind of encryption on that so that it wouldn't
Yep.
be broadcasting my sales numbers to the whole world, right?
That's right. And you'd need to, and that phase is pretty fuzzy right
Yeah.
now, because
Right.
what it could turn into is just an on-prem kind of solution that you install, and you know that it's on your, premise, and I don't know. So we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, understood. Well, I guess what is the biggest vision that you have for this in 10 years? What is it going to look like in your mind?
I would like it to form the foundation of what we know about the future, basically, because it seems like we don't know what the future holds. We don't see things before they happen. Like take the housing crisis that occurred.
Yeah.
Like that, all the signs were there, but it just came out of nowhere. And so if we had machines that were looking at everything and seeing what could happen, they could predict black swan events.
Right.
And I think not all, because that's the nature of black swans, but I think we could do a lot better than we're doing. And if we did, we could mitigate them before they happen. And it could also provide us the ability to come to consensus and kind of take action as kind of larger groups, rather than kind of bickering about what the future will actually be when we
Right.
just don't know. Well, let's just figure it out, and then
Yeah.
we'll know.
Well, that's an interesting little twist that you put into that wrinkle in time where you have a prediction, you're taking action then to head off the black swan, which then means that prediction will be inaccurate, right?
That's right. Yeah. Constantly updating. And that's kind of the vision. Like right now, if you have like a biometric watch or something, it's
Yeah.
tracking your data. If you want to change a habit, I don't know, a sleeping habit, eating habit, you basically have to change to see the future. You have to change it, and then you have to wait. You look at the data after 30 days, and then you kind of know which way this is going. But if you could always constantly have your data being predicted, then as soon as you make the change, the predictors would recognize a signature that they've seen before in your data, and they would say, we know what's going to happen. And they would predict your next 30 days. And then you would get that information. You would either like it or dislike it, change. But ultimately, you would modify. You'd either optimize or completely change what you're doing. And you could, it just makes everything so much more efficient if you can see the future.
Yeah, and if you can make a change, predict the outcome, and then study the variance inside that, like you're talking about within 30 days, right? Like, is there progress towards that prediction?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, it's a fascinating project. Like, how many data points are you able to pull for a question right now?
That's kind of a hard question to answer. So since we only have the layer where we're doing the raw predictions, and we haven't even built the AI engine that can, the LLM that can speak to us about these predictions.
Yeah.
We kind of just have to look at it one at a time. But the actual predicting nodes themselves that are kind of taking in information, they can correlate their data with a number of other data streams. So let's say we have, I don't know, 5 or 6 predictors on the price of gold.
Yeah.
Then each one of those predictors will be running on different hardware, so they'll have different capabilities. They'll be using different algorithms to fit that hardware.
Yep.
They'll be ingesting a different number of other data streams that are correlated with gold in order to optimize that. And so they'll always make a different prediction. You can then take those predictions, average them, look at them over time, weight them, and you can come up with a meta prediction of what is going to happen that's really good. And that's kind of just the wisdom of the crowd phenomenon. Like we do that,
Yeah.
As people, we're all pretty much the same, but we make different models, so we come up with different predictions. And so it's kind of hard to quantify, but I think since it operates on the same kind of principles that we do for our intelligence, I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, no, it's a fascinating, and you can begin to weight the sources of predictions based on the actual outcome that happened.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then provide feedback back to those models. And then I guess the question is, does there become a unified model based on the success and the tracking?
Some people have suggested there would, so unified, I think, yes,
Yeah.
but it's kind of a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
You want the entire network to be as coherent as possible. So you don't want some nodes predicting something radically different than other nodes, unless they're looking at radically different things.
Right.
And where there's variance, you can go in and look at it and say, maybe we should put some more nodes here to see what's going on.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, it's a fascinating process of philosophy and real world outcomes and data from history. So I appreciate the project, and be interested to check in with you again in a few months and see where you are and what the progress has been.
Well, thanks for talking to me. I mean, this has been great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our time together, Jordan, and good luck with this. And like I said, we'll check in again in a few months and see what the state of it is.
Thank you. Do you mind? I know this is the marketing podcast, and I didn't really say anything about marketing, but
Yeah.
I did have a thought that I'm not a marketing guy. I'm a developer.
Right.
So I thought, well, maybe I could provide this idea, but you guys are the professionals. Like, I don't know. So, but tell me what you think about this. It seems like search is being replaced by large language models. Would
Yep.
you say?
Absolutely. Yep.
So that really the algorithm for getting known in the future is, do you have content that they care about? And I wonder what kind of thoughts do you have about how to create that kind of content?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it is. I call it seeding. Right, I'm seeding my content into these GPTs, and so typically, if I'm developing campaigns, I'll encrypt everything. But then once I have my campaigns created, then I will not encrypt it. So that's my seeding process right now. But it's a great question, and it's something that I think about, and I don't have, we're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But that's why I think that in some ways SEO is dead,
right?
Because of that, right? For the Google searches, I think local business search unchanged, right? Because I need a plumber. That's not complicated, right? And I do know of some case studies where companies were embarking on a new project, and they looked at developing scopes of work and outcomes to produce, and then they got a list of companies that could do that work from Chat 3 or whatever it was back then.
Oh, right.
And so they there was the SEO part of that you just described. So
right.
Yeah,
wild. I think we treat those models as sources of truth, and so we're just going to go to them for all of our needs pretty soon. It feels like, almost. I don't know.
It is and again, we get into the philosophy of it, right? Which is, who's created it and what are the outputs, and how do I vet the answers and the hallucinations, and how do I ensure that I'm getting, what matches my philosophy and ethics and all those things, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So then I think it kind of goes to we will all, I think most businesses will develop their own GPTs at some level that will become a combination of Wikipedia and generative AI and warehouse of company policies and procedures and culture.
Right.
And then we will node up, I think, with other like-minded companies, right? Both in and
Right.
outside of our industries. But so in that way, what you're doing with Satori is very visionary, because we're going to need things to plug into that we can trust.
Right. Yes. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, cool. That's a great conversation, Jordan. SatoriNet.io. And also, I know that you're on LinkedIn. I'm sure people will be able to connect with you there as well, right?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for the great conversation.
Thank you very much.
All right. You have a great day.
We'll see you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.